Hi, this is Sherry Hayes with MomDelights.com, and today we're going to talk about two things. First, we're going to talk about simplifying homeschooling, and then we're going to see what's in my mom basket. So stay tuned. Okay, so I know you want to see, what is a mom basket? What do I do with a mom basket? Well, you're going to sit through this little talk first. That'll encourage you, and then I'll show you that. Okay, so there is something that was circulated many years ago that I keep referring back to. I'll show you what I have here. This is my teacher's helps. Can you read that? So in my teacher's helps, what I have is I have just little things that I keep that encourage me or that I have to refer back to a number of times. In here I have I have this little wheel, and I got this from Hewitt Homeschool way many years ago. And this is like different ideas you can do for different unit studies and stuff. So I put that in here. And I have like homeschool goals that I made for myself many years ago. And I have just some little helps like that in here. Now, one of my favorite things that we're going to talk about today that I actually put in a page protector, it's something that was not original to me. It was written by a woman named Colette Longo, and I believe she was, says that she is one of the moderators of the Robinson Curriculum email group. This was way back. This was, I printed this out in 2006. So anyway, no, maybe not. Anyway, sometime like that. I think it was more like 2010. I printed this out. Okay, so let me read this to you, and I'm just going to read it verbatim, and I might discuss little parts of it. But I think this will really encourage you, especially I know that since homeschooling is a thing, and it's actually a more popular thing than it ever has been, that in America, whenever we have something popular, then we have to capitalize on it, which is not negative, okay? It's not a bad thing that people make money, okay? But it's just like with anything else. If you're only in it for making a buck, then you don't necessarily understand the heart of it, especially when it comes to education. And what we've all been brought up to think of as education is a very complicated and a very very expensive kind of thing, right? And so I know on this channel I talk a lot about this, but I don't think I can emphasize it enough. And I think that just like if you're just like me, okay, I need constant reminders, go back to the basics, Sherry. Go back to the basics. So I understand where that comes from, and I think that I don't think it's a waste of my time. Paul the Apostle in the Bible, he talks about, I don't think it's a waste of my time to remind you of the basic things, because the devil wants to distract us from the main things, right? So anyway, so I'm going to read this to you, and we'll go ahead and I'll discuss a little bit here and there, but you'll see, it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so 10 ways to simplify homeschooling. Okay, number 1, keep everything as simple as you can. Jesus wrote with a stick in the dirt. And he was the greatest teacher that ever lived. Think about that. How did Jesus teach? Didn't buy an expensive curriculum. Didn't have to have a lecture hall. Didn't even have to have a whiteboard. He used a stick on the ground. He used no curriculum or flannel graphs or lesson plans. Homeschooling can be made far more complicated than it should be. A simpler approach is much more effective. Okay. Number 2, stick to the 3 R's. They form the foundation of lifelong learning in every field because they are the tools of study. There will be no need to formalize any other subject if the children are doing their best in these 3. Because people who are well grounded in reading, writing, and math will approach other subjects boldly, independently, and confidently. Think about that. Why do so many people know nothing about things like geography and basic science understanding and all that? They don't know our history. Why is that? It's because they don't feel confident in reading, writing, and math, so that when they go to approach those subjects, they get flummoxed by the very basics. And I believe that the social engineers are being very successful in what they set out to do. Is they want to have a class of people that works, that slaves, but doesn't think, doesn't question. And I think there's a quote that's attributed to Rockefeller that says, I don't want to produce thinkers, I want to produce workers, right? So just let that sink in a little bit. So sticking to the 3 R's, you know, I hear a lot of moms, and okay, so this is the tendency. So I am making sure that my kids are reading and writing, and we do some spelling and we do math. But I feel so guilty because we never get to the science or the history, especially when you're starting with little kids. You know, it seems like you never get to the science or history. Or let's say that you've had kids that grew up in the public school system, you've brought them home, and they don't want to do history or science because they don't even know how to read. So stick to the 3 R's. If you've got the little kids and you are actually working on the basic skills and the basic tools of learning, feel good. If you get to that every day and you don't do one lick of science or one lick of history, stop feeling guilty, okay? Because your kids need that foundation, and you know what? They'll take off like rocket ships. They're going to be so, you know, keep them away from the crap, like, you know, don't let them be staring into screens all day, and their natural curiosity will take off, and they will fly like rocket ships and study all the science and history needed. I mean, my kids are always shocking me with all the things they know. Oh, let's learn some history. Oh, Mom, actually, I was reading about that. Right? So anyway, so that's number 2. Okay, number 3. Let the children teach themselves as much as they are able to. Okay? This teaches them responsibility, intellectual independence, and builds confidence. It's also better for the parent-child relationship because you can focus on parenting instead of playing school teacher. Well, wasn't I just talking about that? You stick to the basics, and you know, I love learning along with my kids. So yeah, I'm sorry, we do some history and science together, but I gotta tell you that if you let them learn on their own, it just lights this fire, and it just sets them on fire, and they learn everything. So it's true, let them learn on their own. Okay. 4, use the most direct method available. For reading, read. For writing, write. For math, do it. For the Bible, read it. Okay? Don't fall for catchy curriculums or methods that are really just something else for you and your children to learn, or something more to buy, as we were talking about, commercializing home education. When really, home education, the heart of home education, the genius of it, is that you don't have to commercialize it. It's everywhere. You know, a lot of the things that we buy the kits for, and I understand some of it's convenience, and don't feel guilty if you do this, okay? But a lot of the kits that we purchase is just the regular stuff we have. I know sometimes we think, oh man, okay, so when they talk about STEM learning in school, remember that schools are like these boxes, right, where kids sit in rows, and they might have a slit for a window, maybe no window at all, and so it's actually pulled back from the real world. So they have to stage all these different experiments because kids don't have any connection with the real world in a classroom. But at home, you live in a laboratory. You live in the real world. And when you're doing things like, say, I wonder, will this cake turn out better if I use baking soda and vinegar and buttermilk, or if I use baking powder? And you can, you know, I'm trying something new. You know, when you're trying something new, guess what? You're doing scientific experiments all the time. You have animals. Your kids are learning all kinds of stuff. So, you know, you actually are better equipped than the public school to teach your kids the real things and the things that will stick, because you live in an ongoing laboratory. Okay, just say. All right. Now, 5, don't worry about your child's age or grade. I wish I could yell this from the mountaintops. Stop being concerned about grades and ages. Your child is unique, and they're going to develop as they develop. And some kids, I tell you what, they take spurts and plateaus, right? So I had a child, and he's a little bit challenged, okay? But he couldn't ride a bike, and he couldn't ride a bike, and he couldn't ride a bike, and he just had no interest. He wasn't even going to try. And then one day, when he was 14, he hopped on a bicycle, and he went 10 miles. And that's pretty much how he did everything. It's like, he won't do it, and one day, boom, it just hit him, and he did it to the max. And so, you know, every child is going to learn at their own pace. If you stick 20 kids in a classroom, there are going to be, one's going to be really high on math, low on reading, high on spelling, low, you know what I'm saying? And they're just going to have all these different levels. And what they try to do in schools, they try to normalize a level for a certain age. And it just doesn't work. People don't fit into those kinds, you know, they don't fit into all the little cookie cutter shapes. We're all unique. When you homeschool, if you do that, then you're bringing a failed system home to your kids. And you're trying to make them fit into a system that was never made for human beings. There's no such thing as normal. Understand that. But they try to normalize. They have normalized grades, normalized test things, and all kinds of, everything's normalized. Don't try to normalize your kids. Just enjoy them for who they are. Okay, anyway, enough about that. Okay, children grow intellectually. Okay, sorry, let me start that out. Number 5. Okay, don't worry about your child's age or grade. Just let him do the best he can each day. Children grow intellectually like they do physically, in spurts. That sounds like a lot what I was trying to say. Although we may have an audience of skeptical relatives, homeschooling is not a circus. And we refuse to train our children to do tricks for people. Yeah, I know. The relatives and the neighbors and the people at church are like, are you sure your kid's getting enough? Well, can he do? And I've actually had a relative sit down with my child and try to ask them like to read basic stuff and everything just to make sure they were okay, and compare them. Like, well, we had this public school kid come in today, and boy, he could do this and this and this. Can your children do that? And it was about one of my children's age, and it was just like, oh, you know, what do you do? But just saying, don't let ages and grades move what you should be doing in your homeschool. Okay. Minimize distractions in the home. Now, this is probably hard for a lot of us, but it's a goal we should all try to reach. Okay, watch for excessiveness in entertainments, snackings, outings, phone conversations, and the like. These sorts of things can easily get out of hand and compete with the effectiveness of a homeschool and sap the family of time and energy. Now, this is not just on the part of the kids, but on the part of the mom. When we homeschool, we make a lifestyle change, and it's for the better, trust me. But it should put parameters on our lives that were not there before, and that's not to our detriment. That's to our edifying. Okay, it's to build us up. God is so smart about this homeschool movement. He's trying to produce a nation that is on their knees before God. And when you homeschool, that's kind of like the only way you can be successful, is to do that. Okay, so what you got to do is you got to look at your lifestyle and look at the things that you've been allowing in, like in excess. And I'm not saying that you can't ever watch a movie or go out. It's just that when we do anything to excess, then what it does is it robs something else from your life. It creates like an idolatry almost, and a dependency. So don't allow yourself or your family members to become dependent or overly excessive in any area, whether it's eating or playing video games or watching movies or, you know, being gone all the time, doing all the things, you know. Just make sure that you are you're changing your whole lives kind of surrounding this learning thing that you're doing. But in doing so, you're going to gain more family relationships. You're going to gain a better understanding of the world for yourself. You're going to have more time in your life for the things that, you know, we all want to slow down and have time for the things that matter. Well, homeschooling will make you do that. Just saying. Okay, number 7. Seek quality over quantity. This is important. A few tapes of great music, a small case of carefully chosen books, a few special playmates, and an occasional outing is better than a large but poor quality collection. Let's think. So, I got some money, I got to spend it on school stuff. So we're finding out what everybody else is doing. We're piling the books. We're piling all the experiments. We're piling all the craft supplies. We're piling all the extracurricular activities. We're piling everything in. Just choose the best and keep to the best and keep it as simple and as narrow as you possibly can, and get the maximum value over the small things. You know, that old saying, less is more, right? Because when we have so much, then we're not able, it's not humanly possible to pay attention to all of this. But if you narrow it down to a few things, or maybe you want to have these different things, but maybe you'll have them in seasons. Maybe in the wintertime you concentrate on this. In the springtime you do this. In the summertime you do this. Like, so in the wintertime is a good time just to focus on maybe if you only read like 2 really good books all winter, but you take total advantage of those books, and you delve into the different subjects, and you have discussions and everything. Hey, that's perfect. Then you have taken advantage of that. And then in the springtime, then your focus is on biology. And you're just studying how all the creatures are coming out and coming alive. The trees are coming alive. You're studying botany and zoology and all that. And that's like your time when you're like doing all the science things. And so maybe you're not reading and writing as much, but you're doing all these other things. And then maybe in the summertime you do the physical activity thing. Like, you're doing lots of swimming and hiking and boating and fishing and all those amazing things that you do in the summertime. And then when it comes to the fall time, then you might have a time where you're doing arts and crafts and preparing for Christmas, And so when you put all that together, then you have a well-rounded education, but you're taking advantage in each season of the very simple best, and you're focusing on that. And what that does, it just deepens your learning, right? Okay, now, number 8. If you must document your school activities, do it after the fact. This way, you will not make promises you cannot keep, right? If you are required to make lesson plans, be as vague as possible. Don't let transcripts, diplomas, records, and tests determine your academic plans. Focus on learning, and the rest will follow. And that's why I created the record book. The record book is created so that you can write in what you have already done each day. And you can calculate how many hours you spent on it and what subjects were covered. And that way, when you are making the transcripts, or if you have an accountability to some state agency or whatever, you have the records to show what you've done. But I guarantee, if you are going to, and this is, sometimes we're required to do this, okay? But like she said, make it really vague. But we're required to say, well, we're going to study this and this area and this and this area and this and this and area. And then, you plan all your trips, and you plan your crafts, and you plan this and you plan that. Well, see, what happens is that even in schools, they never get to everything. I remember distinctly that we would start the school year with a book that was, had a lot of chapters, and we would never be able to finish all the chapters. And so the teachers would well, we aren't able to do this, and it was okay. They didn't get to everything. And so, but in our minds, it was like broken promises, right? So we were supposed to get to this and this, and we just never had the time, and the school year ended and that was bye-bye. So that happens in homeschooling a lot, because you might get sick when you weren't intending to. Maybe there's a family emergency. Maybe you got super blessed and you got to move into a better house or something like that. I'm not saying it's not always negative, but what ends up happening is that all these plans, then now you've got this mom guilt. No, so what you got to do is you can have a loose general idea of where you want to go. Like I even did this year. I said, well, this is where we're going to do it, and we've changed our plans even so. We're studying Egypt, but we're not using the same books, I thought. And we're not using the little tiny notebooks. We're using a 3-ring bind. I changed, right? And we're just enjoying it as we go along, and we are having a great time, by the way. And I'll have to show you what our Egypt thing is going to turn out, because we're still in the midst of it, and we're enjoying it every day. We're learning so much. But you know what? It's okay. You can have a general idea, but it's okay to change it up. It's okay to just record it after you do it, and then take that and make your transcript. And all you have to do is turn things into educationese, and there's all kinds of stuff on the internet that shows you how to do that, and it works out. Trust me, I've graduated. Okay, I'm a mom of 15, in case you didn't know. I'm a mom of 15 children, and I have graduated now. Let's see. So I've graduated 13 kids. And some have gone on to do stuff like, they do all kinds of amazing things, and I don't want to brag too much. But they go on to do all kinds of amazing things, and I did this with all of them, because I didn't have time or energy to plan everything we did, except loosely. What I mostly did is we did had all kinds of fun, and then I would record it afterwards. And so it's just fine. Okay, so 9. We're to 9 now, finally. Okay, put the needs of your youngest, most vulnerable children first. If an older child gets a little behind in school, I'm sure you can forgive yourself, but if something happened to the toddler while you were busy homeschooling, I don't think you would be able to say the same, right? So make sure the little ones are, I know this stuff happens because it happens to me, okay? You'll be like really busy and your older kids, you'll be into something, and then you'll hear this splashing sound and you'll find out someone tried to flush something down the toilet. It didn't belong. You've got the toilet water everywhere, Little kids can get into stuff. So you have to make sure they're secured and taken care of. And there's all kinds of ways to do that. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to cover how to take care of little kids so that while you're doing the school with the other kids, they can be taken care of. I mean, I've dealt with that a lot, and I haven't done it perfectly, and I have not found like the perfect way to do it, but I have lots of ideas that I've tried. So let me know if you want to hear about that, and I'll try to put that in a subsequent video. Okay, now, number 10. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and don't neglect to seek him early, giving him the first fruits of your day, and teach your children to do the same. I know that you are tired and there aren't enough hours in your day, but we serve a God who can make the sun stand still. Isn't that good? Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:28-30. And this is so amazingly important. I'm going to tell you, there were times in my life when I would be so focused on my education plans that sometimes time with the Lord and my kids, that kind of went out the window because I would think I was too busy. And I'm going to tell you this too, if you don't do it first thing, it's going to be squeezed out. Like this morning, now this is Sunday. So the first thing we did after, we sat down and we were eating breakfast together, and I made sure that we had Bible reading and prayer together this morning. And when I do that, it's got to be the first thing. Otherwise, we'll do it later, and it doesn't happen. So I'm reading through 2 Kings. Some of my favorite stories are in there, and we're just talking about it, and the girls were teaching me things they knew, and it just sets the tone for the rest of the day. When you put God first, that's why we're homeschooling. We're homeschooling because God is part of everything in our lives. So I hope this helps you. I think Colette Longo, what she wrote here, I know it was inspired by God, and it has blessed me so much. I hope it blesses you. And if you find out, if you find her or you come across her, tell her thank you from me. Okay, so that's that, and now I will show you what's in my mommy basket. So this is my mommy basket. By the way, I've been doing a series where I'm reading aloud these McGuffey readers and going over the lessons. So I'm hoping I can do 2 videos a week, and one will be for these McGuffey readers and one will be other things. So I hope you're taking advantage of that. I hope that blesses you. But anyway, so this is my mommy's basket. Okay, so I tend to try to take my work with me wherever I go, and I have lots of work to do. I'm a creative, so I'm always having ideas. So I'm putting it right now in this little basket because I love baskets. I actually, when I go out, I take my purse and this basket. When my husband and I go out together, he's retired, so we go on errands together, and I take this with me along with my purse, and I put this in the car, and that way if I have any waiting time, I can take advantage of it and work in my stuff. So let me show you what I have in here. As you can see, it's kind of roomy on bottom. I can hold it with my hand. I can take it places I really like. I take it around the house. I put it by what chair I'm at, or if I'm at the table, or I put it in the kitchen when I'm working, and I do all kinds of stuff with it. So this is, I don't know what this is. This is a stirrer. I don't know what that's doing in here. Throw that away. Okay, so this is my little pencil pouch. My daughter Nicole many years ago made these, and it's really handy for me to have this with me. And in here I have a chalk marker, and I have a tablet pen, and I think it's charged. Yeah, it's charged. Yay. Okay, so then I have some pens to write with. I think I have a whole bunch of pens to write with. I need to narrow that down. I go through this periodically. Oh, look how many pens I have to write with. Oh, here's a blue one. Let's see. I have a lot of those pens. I've got to narrow this down. But anyway, so there were how many pens? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 5 pens. Anyway, I need to narrow that down. But anyway, so this right here is like a Sharpie, a permanent marker. I use this all the time in my kitchen and everywhere. This right here is a wipe-off marker. I have a number of wipe-off boards around my house. I use that. Here's just a regular old pencil. This right here is a felt tip. It's a permanent marker. I use these on transparent sticky notes because you can't use a regular pen, so I have this here. Okay, here's a pair of scissors. I keep a pair of scissors with me all the time because I want to be prepared for that. Here's a hairband. I don't know what that's doing there. Here's a little multi-tool I have so that I can, it has a little pair of scissors. It has like, you know, all kind, if I'm opening boxes or whatever I need. And I think I have an eraser in here, a couple of them. Oh, here's some leads for my pencil, so I'll never run out of that. Here's an eraser. Oh, I have an eyebrow tweezers. Don't ask me why that's in there either. I have a penny and a bobby pin, but you don't need to see that, right? So anyway, that's what's in, this is what's in there. Let's see. So that's what's in here. All this stuff is in there. Okay, so this right here is kind of hard to explain. Okay, so what this is I don't know why I have highlighters in here. That's important. But I think the highlighters are in here more to stabilize this doohickey, which is my card reader for my camera. So I keep this in here, and it really protects the card reader because it's like this really sturdy plastic, and I don't want to damage it because it's kind of important when I make my videos, so I stick that in there. So that's all that is. Okay, now here is like probably the greatest workhorse in my whole thing. This is my steno pad. I go through one of these like every month, and I write all my ideas, and like I write things for the day. My daughter scribbles on it. You know, this is like my workhorse thing. I just have this to scribble things on. I'm always coming up with ideas. I write it on there. This is something about an appointment. I don't know what that's doing in there. But anyway, and here's this little planner. I know I even made planners for people and everything, but my husband saw this and he got it for me. And it's just the right size to stick in my basket. So this is just a regular old boring little thing, right? And I have some little you can see these little, they call them flags, I think. I have these in here to help me know what's important. See, I have it flagged on the side, days, they're little appointments that are important here. And it's just one of those regular old boring ones, but you know, I put all kinds of stuff in it. I don't really want to show you a page because I might have private information, but you get the gist, right? So I stick that in there, and I've got a bill here I've got to put out. So it's got a little pocket in the back that I can put some bills in or whatever current that I need to take care of. So that's that. This right here is, oh man, this is so important to me. This is like my spiritual journal. So I have scriptures. I copy scriptures all the time. This is when I do my studies and my scriptures, and I have prayers that are written in here. I have lists of people to pray for. Like if there's a sermon that I listen to that's really, really good, I'll listen to it over and over again, and I'll write it down here. Like this is one of them right here that I've done that way. So that I can refer to it later. And so I work in this and I read it like every day, sometimes twice a day. I'm working in here, so that's important. That right there. So next I have here, this right here is my personal journal. So I have a pen here in case I need it, but I usually use my other pens. And I used to have a sticky, this is a sticky, this is one of those transparent ones that I was talking about. This one's kind of worn out because it's been on there. But anyway, so this is like, yeah, I write things. Sometimes I'll have dreams God will give me, or I just write about my day. And so, yeah, I'm a journaler, so I put all kinds of stuff in there, and ideas and different things for myself. So, yeah, this is another one of my journals. This right here is my little joy tab. So, this is, I can't stare in my phone all the time because my eyes go buggy. So, I use this little tab, and I do my different things in there. And it's pretty handy to have, and it fits, it's just basket size, right? So I like that. And then this right here, I've kind of neglected this, but this is my Russian notebook. Because I've been trying to, I was taught Czech. I was taught Czech for 6 hours a day for 47 weeks. So I understand Slavic roots, but I always thought the Cyrillic alphabet was something I wanted to overcome. So I've been learning that, and I've got my notes in here for that. And so I'm going to continue that, Lord willing. And it's really been a lot of fun for me. It's been unlocking a lot of stuff for me, so I really liked it. Then I have this little thing in here. And this is just a little, I got this at the Dollar Tree. And it just has some little sticky notes and a place to write like lists and stuff like that. So I kind of like that. And it fits in here really nicely, so I like that. And it's really pretty. And this right here is my grocery list. And it kind of keeps me on track here of stuff that I need to get. And so then when I do a grocery list, I can look on here and say, is there anything on the main list that I might need? This is junk. Threw in there, so whatever. Here I have, okay, so I used my steno pad and I wrote down some things and I don't want to lose them, so I stuck that in here. I'll probably end up sticking that in something too. Now here's my Kindle, and I know y'all have Kindles, a lot of us do, and we've had this for a while, but anyway, so this is, I don't even know, this is just something, oh, Georgette Hire, they're suggesting that for me, but my daughter and I, we've been reading through, see, this is Pride and Prejudice, but we've been reading through The Witness by, I can't remember, Grace Livingston Hill. So we've been doing that in here. So anyway, and there's some junk in the bottom. But anyway, so that's what I keep in my mom basket. And like I said, I go through it periodically and I have all this stuff. So if this helps you, it might be an idea that you could build your own mom basket, especially if you have little kids and you're nursing and everything. It's really great to have a mom basket by your favorite nursing station or wherever you're at. See, this is the cool thing about it. You can take all this stuff with you wherever you go. Now, you can have a larger one and you can have like 8.5 by 11 type things in there, like if you had bigger things you wanted to keep, like the record book for homeschooling. I actually have a bigger like magazine basket, and then I keep a lot of homeschooling stuff in there, but it's up in my bedroom right now. But anyway, baskets are great because you can take them with you wherever you are, and it's all in there. Like I showed you in this little pouch, there was all kinds of stuff in here, even scissors, and you can, like, if you have little kids and you're nursing the baby or while you're reading, you could keep some busy things for your kids, like a little pack of crayons, maybe a little, some pieces of paper, scratch paper that you can give to them. And just always have that by you, wherever you can take this basket in your bedroom and keep it by your bed when you're trying to rest. Somebody, like if your husband watches TV, this could be your work basket while he's doing that. You can have it, you bring it to the table while the kids are washing dishes and doing their chores. You could be working on some of your stuff, right? I mean, you could put more business stuff. You could put like a bill folder in here, and you could be working on the budget and the bills while they're doing that. And it's all right here where you can always access it. So this is just an idea, a mommy basket, and this is what I do. You can build one for you, and that'll bless you, and you can help. It'll help in your life to get everything together and coordinated. Okay, take it from a mama 15. You need help. So I hope that you like this. I hope this blesses you. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you, and please like and subscribe. Bye bye.